is From the Big House to the Penthouse podcast. Stories of addiction and recovery. The lie is dead. We do recover.
Man, I'm pretty good. You hear that? It's sexy. Where's Lisa at? She loves it when I say that to her in her ear.
Oh, my sweet Jesus.
She does. Turns her on.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
What it is.
Welcome back to another episode of From the Big House to the Penthouse, Stories of Addiction and Recovery. As always, your host is Ricky Cruz.
Hey, man. Thank you, Raul. And our co-host, Raul, and my other co-host, the Molinator. Where you glasses at, Holmes?
I don't need them.
You don't need them? You're that of a badass, huh?
Hell
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know, and we always get this rock house, man, when we get your wife on in the audience, because she's just like your road dog, I hear, right?
Ride or
Can
die.
we hear some clapping in the audience or no? Can we look? There you go, right. Awesome, man. So what did you guys do? Let me start with you, Raul. My first co-host. What'd you do this weekend?
Man, what did I do this weekend? I don't think I did anything.
You did the same thing you did last weekend.
Yeah. Let me see. Man.
Dude, you don't remember?
I need to start.
How much? This is how much I mean to you.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
dog, man.
No.
Man.
You know what? I was gonna say it, but I was gonna let you say it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What is it? What were you gonna let me say?
Man, we went to the range, man.
We went to the range, man.
We
yeah.
went to the range.
I'm taking an Uzi next weekend.
Right.
Yeah, dude. And then I'm gonna tell you, and we have a special guest, by the way, but we don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet. I want to say that when I went to the range, man, Lisa calls me, right? Because she missed me. I was only gone 2 minutes, and she missed the shit out of me. So when I get there, man, we load up, we get the ammunition, we buy a couple hundred rounds of ammunition, and then we went through it like that, by the way, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, she calls me, and I take off my my headset, and this I'm gonna quit cussing. This guy, he all of a sudden, we hear when I take my earphone to answer my phone, oh boom, whoa, boom, right next door to my freaking ear, man. It's like, holy shit, man, I can't hear.
You should have seen
Yeah, man. I go outside, and I'm thinking, man, I hope nobody's ricochet, man. It's my fear, right? A ricochet bullet or something. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we did. That was exciting, man.
Yeah.
Are we coming this Sunday again or what?
Man, we can. Yeah, I had a good time.
Man. It was really good time. Good time.
And you did awesome, bro.
Thanks, man. I was kind of nervous.
I was telling Ricky, man, that I go often, and I take a lot of different people, man. And, I take vets, and vets say, oh, man, I've been shooting forever. And then I see them shooting. I'm like, bro, you got no idea what the hell you're doing. And then I take other people, and I know what I'm doing. But when you get somebody who's like, hey, bro, I really don't know too much about what I'm doing. Will you help me make sure that I don't do anything crazy? And he shot better than shit.
Well, I've kicked some hotel doors in before. I had always been a mechanic. I don't know. I had to put that hotel part in there, but you know what I mean. Yeah. What about you, Molinator? What did you do, man?
I got some color done.
And if you tell me that you worked in your fucking bathroom again, I'm gonna shit. All right.
Where's the beat?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
I got my tattoo colored in.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. You went to a parlor this weekend, huh?
I did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was good, man. I'm fixing to get some more work done. So
All right.
Just
that was Friday or Saturday night?
Saturday.
Saturday night. You and your wife went?
No, just me.
Just you. You get to go out alone?
Yeah, she has quiet. She has quiet time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. But all right, so you went and got some ink done Saturday night, and you had the leash that you had a little stretch on the leash a little bit. That's all right.
The leash is good, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
My leash isn't very good, but I'm stretching it. I'm stretching it.
I know you are.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, without further ado, let's. Why don't you introduce our guest, man? Go ahead.
So our guest today, first of all, the lie is dead.
We do recover. Right.
We would like to introduce Miss Raquel. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We're truly grateful. You've been a recovery warrior, and we appreciate you coming in, and the floor is yours.
There you go. All right.
I'm going to start off by saying
Yeah.
that I almost threw up.
Not over something I said, I hope.
No, I've been nervous about it, honestly.
Have you really?
Yeah, I mean, I've shared in 16 years, I've shared my story multiple times, but never in this kind of a platform. So it's a little bit different because obviously I have 16 years clean. I'm a recovering addict. I'm part of a 12-step fellowship. I'm not going to name which one it is.
Mhm.
So, but like I've shared in the rooms to other recovering people, but I've never shared in a platform where there's other people there. So people that aren't involved in addiction or that maybe it just touched their lives or that just don't know much about it. So, I mean, when you share in front of other addicts, it's like they understand that depravity, the places you've been, the thoughts that go through your head. But like normal people, there really is something.
You mean something like, hey, well, listen, I don't drink. So not even on the weekends?
Right, like-
or night?
Right.
Right? Yeah,
Honestly,
something like that.
I was in Austin this weekend for my cousin's
I
birthday,
saw
and
that.
we
I
met
saw
at a
that.
bar, and like one of the guys was like, "Oh, you don't want to drink?" I'm like, "No." Like even my cousin was like, "You don't drink at all?" Like I
Uh-huh.
mean, I get you don't do drugs, but you don't like drink. And I'm
Drugs are
like,
bad.
alcohol is a drug.
Mhm.
Period. But like that's my thing. I'm like, no, I haven't had a drink. I haven't had anything in 16 years, over 16 years. And so she was like,
That's
wow,
amazing.
Wow.
crazy.
It's awesome.
And I'm like, yeah, I said, and to be honest, like when I first got clean, um, my ex-husband, who 13 stepped me, by the way,
Uh,
had 13 days clean, but like his story was something that like terrified me. Like he said he had like 7 years clean and he decided in New Year's 2000 that he was going to drink again. And he had a brother in recovery out here and he was like, don't do it, don't do it. And he's like, no, man, I'll never stick a needle in my arm again. And he said 3 days after drinking, he was smoking weed. And 3 days after that, he was shooting up again. And it terrified me. I knew for me that I never wanted to go back to that place before I got
oh, wow.
like I couldn't, and it's terrified me to this day. So no matter what's going on in my life,
Did you
just
say
for
he
the
was
day.
your ex? Your
My
ex, right?
ex-husband.
Your
Mhm.
ex-husband. Yeah. Is he still? I mean, without saying too much about it, is he still active or is he in
He's
recovery?
been in and out.
In and out.
He's in right now. But yeah, he's been in and out
Okay.
over the years. So. But yeah, it's for me. I don't want to risk it.
Mhm.
It scares me.
Oh yeah.
There's too many things the haven't done or those things, the what ifs and all that stuff. Like, I've never done that. Never done that. Doesn't mean I wouldn't,
Right.
because I've done some.
No, of course.
Just kidding. I'm not kidding. No, but I've done some really not great things in recovery. So
In
and-
recovery.
in recovery.
Yeah.
And so
You
like,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like for me, like my story, it started so much longer before I actually started. Like as a kid, I was always like I was a middle child, and I was always seeking that attention
Mm.
and things to take me outside of myself. And for the longest time, I didn't really realize why. And then at 16 years old, I mean, I used to have these recurring dreams when I was a kid. One was my dad smoking on the way down to the valley to go visit our family. And my dad doesn't smoke. So I was like, it's weird. Why would I dream that? And the other was a family member molesting us. And, I would dream like my sister and I are crying on the floor. And I'm like, I'll go so you don't have to go. I'll go so you don't have to go. And I always thought they were just dreams and it didn't make sense. And 16 years old, I said to my dad, man, I've always had this crazy dream. And he was like, about the smoking. And he's like, no, I used to smoke, and I would give you the pack to your grandma when we get down to the valley. And I'm like, shit. And I went to my sister and I'm like, did this happen? And she's like, yes, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, holy hell and everything. It was like a turning point for me in the wrong direction.
Mm.
So I was raised with religion. I don't even know if I should say which religion it is, but I sometimes say I'm recovering from that religion too. But like in my mind, I thought God didn't let bad things happen to good people, so I must be inherently bad. So F it, like I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm going to hell anyway, so might as well. So 16, first time I drank, first time I had sex, like And first time I tried drugs, like it was just on
All at once.
all at once. And it was like, I was so angry. Stopped going to church. I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. Like, no.
But when you say you were angry, if you don't mind, I mean to interrupt. When people have said before, I was so angry. Were you really like? Did you wake up in the morning? People say, "Hey, good morning." Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is that
I
what you're
was.
talking about,
And
or are
like,
you just
I had
saying
a
you're
really
angry?
rocky relationship with like my mother, and we have a great relationship now.
Mhm.
But like, I had a really rocky relationship with my mother. Like, it was like I just always felt like, I mean, I was really close to my dad, and I think there was some resentment there because of
Mhm.
that. And so we just really didn't have a good relationship. And like, I remember so many bad things from my childhood, my mom and I.
Mhm.
And like, when I turned 16, I was like, you guys didn't protect when I was little.
Mm.
I
That
was
makes
like 5 or
sense. That makes
6.
sense.
And I was like, you guys didn't
Where were you?
protect
Yeah.
me. You know, like, and like, how could you not? Like, how could you not know? How could you not protect us? And then, I found out some other things, and like, really, we weren't protected. Like, it was a known thing
So
in
do
my
you
family.
think your mind at some point was blocking that?
Absolutely. It
So
totally
before the
protected me.
addiction though, because you
Before
didn't
the
remember.
addiction, I didn't
Yeah?
remember. And then at 16, it was like the floodgates opened, and I'm like, I talked to, some other family members, and I was like, really, did this happen? And they're like, yeah. And I'm so grateful that I don't remember the details. But like little things, especially like when I first got married, like little things would trigger me, like and take me back to being that little girl. And like I had to seek counseling because of it. I was in recovery, but I had to seek counseling
Mm.
for it. And it was like I had to like tell that little girl inside of me that it was okay. Like I was
Raquel, if you don't mind me asking, I know us as addicts, we suppress a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
How do you feel about, because when the floodgates do open, I feel like it opens a whole new realm for us because now we're just going to act out. We're not only going to use drugs, we're going to act out. We're going to act out a character. How was that for you?
so for me, I think it was a lot of rebelling. Like, and I hurt so much on the inside. And like part of it was like I wanted to hurt my parents by making bad choices, doing different things, but I wanted the pain to stop. And I didn't know how to do that. And I wanted to be loved, and I didn't know how to do that. So, my effed up thinking was end. Like, the thing that hurt me the most is the thing that I went to for comfort. And that was really hard for me. Like, to me, sex equal love. Like if I had sex with you, you love me. And it was so twisted,
Mhm.
the way that things were. And it was like, and then like as I got older, like I mean, at 17, I wound up pregnant. Um, and I had to go to confession, tell the priest what I did,
So
which was
you told us what religion.
I know shit. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I try not to
And,
cuss.
and look, and I'm just gonna say this. Look, I'm gonna put the platform out. Look, Raquel, you can share anything and everything you want. This is not an NA meeting. This is not an AA meeting. This isn't any kind of meeting. So whatever you're comfortable with, you can share. Obviously, we didn't have time to talk for you to tell us what you don't want to talk about or
Right.
do talk about. So we're just we're winging it, right?
Right.
But I just want to tell you, whatever you're comfortable. If you were, a Buddhist, if you were a Catholic, whatever you want to say, it's all up to you, and the platform is yours. Okay,
But
for
what
you
my
to share
thing,
whatever you want.
like my thing is I don't ever want to say anything where that I offend someone's
Mhm.
religion or their belief system.
We don't
or
offend
anything like
nobody
that.
here.
Well, and
okay.
that's just me. Like I try to
All
be
right,
very
fair enough.
conscientious
We
of
don't. We don't give a
like,
shit.
of anybody that might be listening.
Mhm.
Because
I get
whatever
the
way that you
emails.
find
Yeah,
God,
that's okay.
whatever your God may be or your higher power, like more power to you.
Mhm.
Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
It's just I had to find what worked for me.
I'm
And
glad
that
you
was a
said.
big
I'm
thing.
glad you said that because me and Ricky and Raul talk about this all the time. We don't care how you get here.
Mhm.
We just care that you get here.
Isn't that a song? There's a
No.
Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Is
I
it?
don't care how you get here.
Oh my
Just get here.
Oh no, it sounds like
Anyways,
it'd be a country song.
so let's bring that back.
I'm sorry.
in.
Come back. Let's bring it back, man. Bring it back. Right.
Let me-
See
let
what
me
you do.
rein
Right?
it
Yeah,
in.
bring it in.
So are
Yeah.
you from Pearland?
I grew up in Pearland.
Did you?
Mhm.
You graduated?
Graduated
from
from Pearland.
What year, if you don't mind me asking? Tell me when.
You never ask a woman.
Raul.
Naughty Raul.
You
Off
just-
the- do that off the
Like
record.
2000 and
If you think I'm gonna tell you.
2001. on?
I'll tell you after.
After,
Okay.
yeah.
There you go.
Off
But
the record.
I didn't
Off the
ask her age, man.
well, you can calculate if you can do basic math. You can figure it
He
out.
failed
I
math in
won't even
school, and
tell
I'm
you
just
guys
gonna
how old
say
my
that.
son is because
Yeah.
that'll age me too. So,
Yeah.
Because you look familiar. I've seen you around. I just don't know where. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
I tell people, just as long as you didn't see me at the post office picture, right, and everything's cool, right?
Right.
At the post office.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
but like, so for me, like going back and like back and forth, when I got older, like I realized that there was something wrong with me, like emotional.
Mhm.
Like I would get really depressed, and like every time I'd get depressed, I would like drink a bottle of Jack or whatever, like I just that was how I dealt with it. Or I would get really, really high. My mom used to always tell me, "You can't ever be in the middle. You're always really up here. You're really down here. Like what the hell is wrong with you?" And it didn't take. It took me getting into recovery to be diagnosed with a mental illness. And I'm bipolar, and I didn't know that. So I like self-medicated. Like when I was really low, I self-medicated. When I was really high, self-medicated, and I acted out in a lot of negative ways.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You're in recovery, so am
Mhm.
I, and probably the rest of us are too. And we all run a recovery the way it works for us, right?
Mhm.
Would do you, I had one time when my sponsor told me one time, he's like, look, I would come to him I was having issues with my marriage at the time. And he would tell me, listen, I'm not a marriage counselor, but this is what worked for me. And I remember him telling me one time, look at Cat Daddy, I think you probably wouldn't be a bad idea to find a therapist, a professional. It's always good. And I say this because I see a therapist today,
Mhm.
and he's very, very helpful to me. Of course, adapting the program of Narcotics Anonymous, which is it's the program that I'm in, and in applying the professionalism from my therapist, because and something that told me what you were saying, he tells me, dude, we need to find that we need to get you in this area here.
Mhm.
Because
Middle
you're
ground.
always, you don't want this. Well, then fuck you. You're out. You know what I mean? Oh, you're over here. Okay, blah. And I make these decisions because here and here. And he says, you know what's here? I said, I don't know. Mars? I don't
Right.
know what's there. I've never been there.
there.
And that's what I want to find. I want to find that serenity. I want to find that neutral place. Have you found that place? Or have you been close to finding it?
I have
I'm interested to
been
hear.
close to finding it.
Okay. Tell us about it.
So I had clean at the time. But I had gotten to the point where I was just so tired of the up and the down. I mean, it was just extremes. And like I hated my life. I hated my husband. I hated like all this stuff. And I was like,
Isn't hating your husband normal or no?
I don't know if it was for me, but
Oh, okay.
you know, but I've seen lots of people that haven't, so
Yeah.
maybe. But like I winded up, I was working in mental health at the time, and I was talking to the doctor there, and he was like, "You need to get on some meds."
Mm.
And so I was like, "All right." So he put me on some meds, and I was like, and my sponsor at the time and one of my really close friends were like, "No, if you just work the steps, you'll be fine. If you just work the steps, you'll be fine." And like one of my friends was like really upset that I was going to get on bipolar medication. And I
Mhm.
got on it anyways. And it was like, oh my God, is this what feeling normal is like? I didn't hate my husband. I didn't want to stab him every day. I didn't want to kill the kids. Like, and I was like, wow, like skipping through the park. It was great. But I winded up gaining a ton of weight. Like I probably gained like 45 pounds.
Don't we all gain weight in recovery?
So, okay. My husband tells me, "You really need to do something about your weight because I can't be with somebody that's fat." And it destroyed me.
Mm.
So I started going to a boot camp 5 days a week in the morning. I was jogging 2 to 6 miles 6 days a week, measuring everything that I put in my body, and I couldn't lose any weight. And then it came to one night, we were out to eat, we went and had food, whatever, and it was me and the kids, and we were going to a meeting, and my husband was there, and I go to the bathroom before the meeting to go make myself throw up. And I come out of the bathroom, and my kids are there, and they're like, "What's going on?" And I had to share about that at a meeting. Like, this is my insanity. So I went back to the doctor, and I'm like, "Hey, you gotta put me on something else. This is not working. Like, the weight is making my life insane." Like, it was crazy. And then So they changed my medications, and it winded up throwing me into a severe manic episode. And for those of you guys who don't know mania, it's like it manifests itself in so many ways. So like first it was I wasn't sleeping very well and I was cleaning the garage at all hours of the night and getting like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And then once the garage was clean, then I had to focus on something else. And I started painting my nails for 8 hours a day and working full time, spending $200 on nail polishes, just crazy. And my husband was like, I feel like I'm living with a tweaker. Like, what is going on? And then when I get into my mania, like I have realized that I act out sexually. And I winded up there's no nice way of saying it, but I winded up having an affair while I was in this manic episode. And my best friend was like, "Yeah, I knew there was something wrong with you because that's not your morals, that's not your beliefs. You were acting so out of character." And like she was like, that's not who you are because like I had a belief in the higher power, my God. Like it was so and there was times that I don't even remember conversations during that time. Like entire days were missing and during that time frame. And like it came to the point where I was ready to commit suicide. I had a plan, I had everything. Like I had 3 different ways that I could do it, and I knew the right ways to do it and all this stuff. And I finally shared it. We were having a meeting with a bunch of addicts just at our house, and I shared it with some of my close friends, and they're like, "You need to go get help." And so I did, and I went the next day to the hospital to check myself in, and, I remember I told my husband the night before, "Hey, I'm going to the hospital, I'm gonna check myself in because I really wanna kill myself." Like, I do, and I don't wanna live like this anymore. And he's like, "Alright, alright, alright." He went to work the next morning, and I went to the hospital, and he calls me, he's like, "Where you at?" I'm at the hospital. He's like, "You went without me?" I'm like, "I told you where I was going." And then he shows up and they're doing the intake and the nurse is asking, "So, what's going on?" I'm like, I wanna die. Like, I wanna kill myself." "Well, do you have a plan?" "Yes." "Okay, well, what's your plan?" And I'm like, "Plan A, plan B, and plan C." And his jaw dropped. He was like, "Hell." And then I had to wait for them to come give me an assessment, and during that time, he's like, "How long is this gonna take? Because I gotta get back to work." I'm like, "I leave, leave, and don't come back."
Raquel, if you don't mind me breaking in,
Absolutely.
I've noticed a lot being in recovery that a lot of people suffer in silence. We can act like we're okay on the outside, but in the inside we're dying. You know, and that's where I think the steps of whatever program you do are imperative to help you grow, not only as an individual, but back into society also. What do you have to say about
I
that?
think a lot of times, not just in recovery, but in, like, general, there's a taboo around mental illness. So, like, my close friends knew what was going on with me, like, really close friends, but for the most part, like, most people didn't know what was going on. Like, we were this power couple in recovery. Like, we played the part big time.
Your husband and you, both
Mhm,
you and your husband. He
mhm.
okay. Is this your ex-husband or
My
your
ex-husband.
okay, the same guy we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
mhm.
Okay.
So, like, for me to say and, there was lots of times, and I learned very early in recovery, like, you can save your face or you can save your ass. Which one do you choose? And
Mhm.
there was a lot of times I went into meetings and I was like, "I gotta save my ass today." But it was just such a taboo thing, and, like, talking to other people, like, that had a lot of recovery, like my sponsor and, one of my close friends, and then their response to me saying, like, "Hey, I'm really not okay, like, I feel like I need to get on medication," and their response was the 12 steps. And, like, for me, I'm very big on they should work together. Yes, you have the steps, but there's mental illness. Sometimes you have to be on medication to be able to like, it's a
Function.
right, it's a chemical imbalance.
Mhm.
So, like, you've got all these things going on, and if you don't have something to regulate that, then you're living insane anyways.
Right.
And so, it was hard for me to talk about that part of myself in a 12-step meeting.
Mm.
And then it came to the point where I was like, "F it." Like, I have to save my ass. I can't just save my face.
Don't you, wouldn't you talk to your sponsor about that in a private, intimate
I
setting?
did,
You
and like I
did.
said, she wasn't really feeling that. Like, she was like, "No, the 12 steps, the 12 steps, the 12 steps." I'm like,
Maybe
and
she didn't suffer from mental illness.
she didn't.
Maybe, right.
And my friend, the one that was, like, very adamant about it, and then when I got on it, she was like, "Holy hell, you're like a different person." Like, I never believed in medications before now.
Mhm,
Like, and I was able to change her view on that, but it was against everybody's advice to get on the
mhm,
medication, and I did. And then, like, when I got off or changed the medication is when I just went and I was out there. And
mm,
so and I had quite a few years of recovery. And I mean, I was going to meetings, I was part of like, I was business meetings and all. I mean, like all this, I was in service big time. And like I had to like really say, I'm not okay. And I did a lot of things in recovery that I'm not proud of. And I had to find a place where I could forgive myself because I wasn't myself in
mhm.
that. And that for me was really hard because I mean, how can you do this shit when you've got all this time clean? Like you've
But
been working
wait,
steps and you have a sponsor and you do all these things, but yet you're acting out in these ways that are so like,
but
destructive.
isn't that kind of normal, Raquel? To a certain extent? I mean,
So it
we're
is.
human. We have to give
We
ourselves a
are human,
break,
yes.
man.
But like in my mind, I was like, I should be better than this.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like when you are so off balance and off
Mhm.
kilter, like there's no way to like rein yourself in unless you're talking to somebody and they're
Right.
like I have an amazing sponsor now and I've
Mhm,
talked to her like and I just recently realized that I was in a manic episode.
mhm.
I'm not on medications
Today.
and like this was just last Thursday. I was like,
Okay.
man, I am jacked up. And I just realized because I wasn't sleeping.
Mhm,
And that was my cue. Like I was acting out and everything like that. And my mind was racing and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not okay.
mhm,
And I don't wanna get on medication today because that, like, adds that whole 'nother level, like, with the weight gain drives me nuts too, so I'm like, "Okay, I have to come up with some coping skills, but I have to find people in my life that are gonna hold me accountable." Like, my son and his girlfriend live with me, and they are amazing, and, I can talk to them about everything,
mhm.
and I'm truly blessed that they're there and that I have that kind of a relationship. But, like, I'm like, "If you see me" like, my son was like, "Mom, you're talking really fast." And I'm like, "Oh, no, it's just because I had coffee, and and he's like, "Holy hell, mom, take a breath."
Take it easy.
And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, okay, a bit off." But, like, I have my sponsor, I have my best friend, I have my son, I've told all my family members, and I'm praying. And I'm, like, finally getting some sleep. I can feel myself transitioning out of that, but, like, it's a huge deal for me to not let it go and continue. And so, I think for me, like and this is just for me, like, I believe in medication, yes, 100%. I believe that we sometimes need help outside of the 12 steps.
I'm a true believer in that, Raquel, because I'm gonna tell you something, I'm living it. As I don't know if I told you that I'm seeing a therapist,
Mhm,
and I mean, it's been some amazing, amazing things. I am in recovery, I don't do step work. I don't recommend that people who are in recovery don't do step work. I heard a bunch of beautiful things happen from this step work, okay? And that's fine and dandy, right? But, I don't do step work. I do see a therapist, and I'm gonna tell you from seeing a therapist that a lot of changes in my life has happened, and I'm thinking about, my next step is possibly getting on medication. That's why I was curious about asking you what you thought about it, and I'm gonna tell you with a beautiful thing that did come, something in my life that couldn't come from the program, that did come from a therapist was that to, my son, accept that whatever harm I did when I was in an active addiction, I no longer owed anybody anything, including my family, because I was doing these things for my family out of guilt.
mhm,
And my therapist said, "Look, dude, it's even. The you've paid everything off, man. You're done. You're here. You're doing the deal. You no longer owe anybody anything, correct?" And we went through this thing and we talked about it. From then, my son worked with me. He worked for me all through years. And from that therapy, my son ended up quitting. He was seeing therapy, the same therapist. He quit, and our relationship now is no longer boss son, boss employee and his just son dad. So an amazing thing come from that, and now, if I could just, do that with my wife too, maybe I can get her to leave the shop too. Yeah, everything would be great. But that was a joke. But you know what I'm saying. But so
Right.
that me in the end, you know what I'm saying.
Right. And so like I was in my using and everything like that, like
Mhm.
bringing to my knees. But like my family was 100% like I think I've seen my dad drunk one time my
Mm.
entire life. My mom, before I got clean, I think I maybe saw her drunk a few times. Like it wasn't something that was like there. And like I'm the only addict in my immediate family. And so it was a big surprise when I winded up getting addicted to my drug of choice. And like it brought me to my knees.
Mm.
Like I didn't lose my son, I didn't lose my house, all that stuff. Like, my bottom was there wasn't anybody there looking back at me in the mirror. It's like I was dead inside. Like I lost my soul. And that was the thing. I mean, and I wanted to die. And I had a friend, my friend Jessica, she was like, "You need to go like check yourself out." Like, and then a really good friend of mine, Jarvis, which neither one of them are in recovery. No, nothing. My friend Jessica wound up calling all these rehabs. And she's like, okay, here's the numbers. And so I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because at that moment, I was like, I really need to get some help. That didn't last very long because then I wanted to use more. So I remember 2 days later, she's like, oh, so did you call? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from him. And she's like, you're a damn liar because they said they haven't heard from you. And I'm like, son of a I was so mad. I'm like, fine, I'm calling. And at this point, so my younger sister and I are best friends. And we've always been close. She's like 18 months younger than me. But I had been using with another family member, and that family member had some really bad consequences due to her abuse of my drug of choice. And she winded up telling my younger sister what
Mhm.
and my sister threatened to tell my dad and all this stuff, and I'm really not proud, but I got so mad that I physically beat her up. My son had to grab the kids, my nephew was only maybe 5 years old and blind, my niece that was, like, a year old, like, he was pulling them out of the living room, and I was just wailing on her, like, I was ready to kill her, like, over telling my dad that I'm using, and then my dad comes, and she moves out, and my dad's like, "Are you using?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not using," because at that moment, I wasn't, because, we can manipulate the truth any way we want to, because
Mhm.
that's what we're good at, but, like and then 3 days later, I had to call him from work because I went to work, and I was like I was supposed to go into rehab that Friday night after I got off work, and I think it was Mother's Day weekend, so my clean date is May 13th, 2006, and it was Mother's Day weekend, and I remember I called my aunt beforehand. I think it was, like, Thursday night, and I'm like, "Hey, it's Mother's Day weekend, and I'm just gonna wait until the following weekend because I wanna be there for my son," and my aunt, who does not cuss at all, said, "Mija, if I have to hog tie your ass and take you, I will take you," and I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
I'm like,
The good
"Oh
Lord,
my god."
the good Lord will
I'm like, "Alright,
strike
fine,
you
I'll
down.
go," but I
Yeah.
had to call my dad at work
Mhm.
on my lunch break. I was like, "Dad, I have to take," and he's like, "So you lied to me?" Technically, I didn't, but yes. And I said, "But I don't know how long I'll be in there. You should take care of my son." And so, my parents had just gotten a divorce, not even it was maybe 6 months before that. So they weren't even talking. And so my sister had gone and stayed with my mom. I was staying with my dad at the time. And my dad met me on the street at my mom's because he wasn't allowed in there to drop off my son. And I was like, I don't want you to see me like this. Cause I got off work, met up with my dealer and got high and like, was like, "Ooh," and then I had, cause I had my uppers and I had my downers. And so I was like popping the rest of the pills and I was going to drive to my aunt's house and she was going to take me to the rehab. And I just started bawling when he saw me because I was so spun out. And I don't remember, and you're familiar with Pearland. I was on 288 side of Pearland. That's where my mom lived. my aunt lived in Friendswood, and I had to stop at the Walmart there on Dixie Farm Road to get some cigarettes because I smoked at the time. And I don't remember the drive at all. I remember buying the carton of cigarettes. I don't remember getting to her house or anything. And I was like, later on, I was like, how did you even know I was outside? She's like, "You know how you called me." I'm like, what? How did I even get in the passenger seat, like for her to drive? I didn't remember any of that. And I remember getting to the rehab, and it was just a fog. And of course, they're asking me, when was the last time you used? Oh, it's been a couple days. And the like lady's like, why don't we take you to the back? Because my aunt was there. I didn't want her to know. So she's like, and she kept telling me, you should really blow your nose. I'm just gonna save that for later. Like, that was the craziness.
Why?
It was so bad.
Why?
And
The
they
bad
took me
thing
to
is it's not crazy.
I know
Yeah.
it's normal for us.
Even through listening to your story, I've noticed something. You're really good at using your resources.
Mhm.
And I want to tell people that are watching or listening,
Mhm.
it's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
Help is on the way. And all you need to
Absolutely.
do is ask for help.
I know.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Raquel.
it's okay. But I remember getting into the rehab, and I was angry when I woke up and found out that I couldn't use. Like, what the hell did I do? Like, oh my God. And like, so angry. And I remember this girl comes in, we're at a meeting, and they're throwing out these stupid one-liners in the rehab. And I'm like, whatever, shut up. I was so angry because my thought process was, when I get out of here, I'm going to hook up with my dealer. And then I'm going to use, and then I'll pick up my son from school, and then I'll start my recovery. Like, that was my master plan. And this girl had just come in, and she's still detoxing. I still say she's my angel, but she said, you need to play the tape all the way through. And again, I'm angry. What the fuck does that mean? She's like, you get your drugs, you get high, and then what happens after that?
Mm.
And then what happens after that?
Mhm.
And then what happens after that? What happened?
But you have heard that before?
wasn't
You
ready.
had heard that
I
they're
had
playing the
not
tape
heard
forward
that.
before?
I had
No, that's the
never heard
first
that.
time
Yeah,
you've
that's
heard
the first
that.
time because I had never had any experience to recovery. But like it was, I was like, holy shit! And I was back in my closet,
Uh-huh.
getting high and hating my life.
Wait, after you got out of rehab, you were back in your closet, or
No, that was where the tape took me to.
right.
Like if I played the
So
tape,
you did
and
play it forward.
I did while I was there, and I was like, and I remember I left the room. It was like this light bulb came on, and I left the room and went to my room, and I got down on my knees and I cried. I probably cried. And I said, God, I don't know if you give a shit about me. I don't know if you're there. I don't know if you're real, but I can't do this on my own.
Mhm.
I need help.
Wow.
Like, please help me. I was begging with everything in me. And I cried myself to sleep. And I was like, I woke up the next day. It was like, holy shit, I'm a new person. That desire, everything went away. And I was filled with this love. And I was like, all right, God, I got you. And that was my first burning bush moment. in
Damn, Raquel,
recovery.
that gave me chills, man. Wow.
It was because I was like, and my God told me, I never left you. I took you to the brink of nothingness to bring you back to me. And I always say, this 12-step program gave me my God, and my God gave me this 12-step program. That was just so powerful to me that I meant that much to God that, like, He, like, literally took me to that brink, but didn't let me fall over and still loved me with all my faults and all my insecurities and my insanity. My God loved me through it all. And like, I remember going to the 12-step meetings in rehab, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, and I remember them saying, like, out of the 30 of you guys here, only 2 of you are going to make it. I'm looking at the others, and I'm like, man, that sucks for y'all.
You're dying.
Like, yeah.
You're not gonna make it.
Bye.
Yeah,
It was nice
see
knowing
ya.
you. And,
Hey, go ahead and leave now.
Right. It's crazy. And it was like so like mind boggling to me. But I was like, I'm one of the 2. I don't know who else is, but I'm one of the 2. And like, I was like, okay, 90 meetings in 90 days. I got this. I had took some time off work from disability and everything like that. And I couldn't go back to work because I was using my drug. My dealer was delivering me shit to work and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm going back to work. And then I met my now ex-husband 13 days clean at a meeting. And I was like, oh my God, he shared this spiritual shit.
He's
Oh my God.
beautiful.
He was talking about footsteps in the sand. I've never seen a guy so in touch with his emotions. And it was just so.
Was he floating on
Oh
air?
my God,
Was he
it was
floating a little bit,
ridiculous.
Raquel?
It was ridiculous. And then like,
Do you want to answer that?
it was nuts. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And like, I remember my dad telling me, "Do you really want to be with somebody that's got the same problems as you?" I'm like,
I want him with more problems.
I'm
I
like,
can
well,
fix
he at
him.
least understands me. Like it was just such. And then codependent.
Yeah.
We both were codependent. And I
What
remember
is that? Codependent.
So he would say, I was like, well, I'm codependent and you're codependent. So if I'm always worried about making sure that you're happy and you're always making sure that I'm happy, then we'll be happy.
Double whammy.
That is the biggest crock of shit ever.
Double trouble.
It was so toxic.
That doesn't work?
No, not even a little bit. And that was the craziness. But like I did everything you're not supposed to do in the first year of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Got in a relationship. I moved 1,400 miles away from everybody and everything that I knew.
I thought you were supposed to move away from people in recovery.
Not your support system.
Oh, those people. No, right.
No,
Yeah,
so
those are the wrong ones to move away from, right?
He grew up 1,400 miles away, and he was like, "We're going back over there and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Okay," but he left, and I had like 6 months of just a phenomenal time in recovery, like going to all these meetings, interacting.
Where were
with people.
you?
I was here.
Oh, you're here.
And then
Okay.
like I found my church that I go to now, and I remember going to the first service, like my sponsor at the time took me, and I was like, I really like this. I think I need to go to mass now. Like I literally left there and met up with my aunt and went to mass because I was like, you're not supposed to like church. And that was like, it freaked me out.
Oh, so you
Can
tried
I
a
say
different
something?
church out
Yes,
of your
I
normal-
tried.
Is that the
I
church
tried
that I saw you at
yeah.
a couple days ago? New
Mhm.
Hope. Do you mind if I say
I
that?
don't mind if
Can
you
I
say
say
that.
because I want to say that I want to give a shout out to Howard Agnew. He's my pastor at Alvin.
Mhm. I go
And
to
then we
Paraguay.
actually we meet twice a week, him and I.
Mhm.
He asked me to read the scripture for him.
Yeah,
To-
I volunteer a lot at my church.
So is that your new church?
So that was the church that I went to, and I stayed going until I moved away. And then my family started going to the church, and which was crazy because, of course, my parents were diehard, in their religion. And then when I moved back, my parents, who were divorced for 17 years this December, go to church together.
Oh.
They take my nephew, my older sister, who'd been divorced for a few years. She moved back and near us, and so she goes to church. And I came back and I was like, yes, because I used to watch it online and stuff like that when I was in another state. And like I came back, and then just in the last couple years, maybe 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I started like volunteering and stuff like that. And like, I hadn't been working for a while. So, but in my last job, I was able to be off like every other Thursday. So Thursday mornings, they get the church set up. So I go Thursday mornings and volunteer. And then I volunteer Thursday night when we go to service. And then I go back on Sunday because I've already been to service. So I just volunteer all day Sunday. So like, it's a big part of me today. And like just being able to go to the church and be like, and it's a huge church. There's so many people.
That's where I seen you.
And maybe. And then I'm like, maybe. I don't know why you stalking me. No, I'm just kidding.
Stalker.
But like,
Raul.
it's crazy because now, like I'm going to this huge church, but people know me because I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being a service in another way.
Mhm.
And like, and I honestly, when I came back here, I started going to meetings a little bit, and it was just awkward at first. And I had a hard time because I had a lot of clean time and a lot of recovery, and then trying to find somebody that that had more clean time than me to find a sponsor in out here. It was hard for me.
What do you mean? You wanted to find somebody that had more clean time than you?
That was because we're in the state that I lived in, both states, because I moved from one state to another because it was 90 miles north of where I was living. After I got divorced, I moved there. I was there for a year and a half, and like, there's so many women with a lot of recovery out there. Like I'm talking about decades of recovery. And so I come here and I'm like, there's like one woman that has more recovery than me. And it was really hard for me to find.
What was hard about it though?
Just because I was
'Cause
so
I
used
wanna
to
trade
not,
notes.
I
I
didn't
wanna trade
have to
notes.
be the leader there.
Yeah.
I was just somebody that was having to like I was able to learn from people that had been there, done that, and then who had been of service, that knew like spiritual principles and all of these things and showed me how to live. So like to me, then going where I'm in a broken spot, moving back here after a divorce, and it was an ugly divorce, and it wasn't really spiritually fit at the time when I moved back.
Mhm.
And then people looking up to me because, hey, you've got, over a decade clean and like we expect you to be like
Get your shit together.
right, you're
Your
supposed to
shit's
have your
supposed to
shit
be
together at that
right.
point. And like I wasn't ready to be that leader here.
Mm.
And that was one of the things. And then my relationship, because I stayed in that relationship, that toxic relationship, the man that I cheated with my husband with, I stayed in that relationship for entirely too long because I was like, I'm stubborn.
Mm.
They
You
say a
too?
hard head makes for a soft behind. I get my ass
Hell
beat a
yeah.
lot. So, but I stayed with it because I was like, I'm not going to show that I made a mistake.
Oh, show them.
And
Yeah.
so 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, I kicked him out and because I was done.
Just the same day, or did you give him notice, Raquel? You're in recovery, remember. Did you
I
give him a
gave
little
him
notice?
many
Chances.
chances.
And
then I found out,
did you
and then
kick
I
him out
found
that day? It's what
No,
my
no,
question.
no. I told him, I'm
Yeah.
like, here's the deal.
You gotta
You
go,
have
bro.
until, yes, you gotta go, and this is the date you gotta be out by. And he's like, oh no,
Mama
but
knows.
I love you and I want to work this out. I'm like, if you
yeah.
want to work this out, we'll work it out, but you're not gonna live here while we're working it out.
We're working it out from the corner.
Right. And then
Yeah.
I found out while we were trying to work it out
Yeah.
that I got an anonymous letter in the mail. Okay, an anonymous letter in the mail.
Really? Wasn't signed. That's what
Hey.
anonymous means, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't,
Okay.
and they didn't even spell my name right. It
Yeah.
wasn't even my first and last
Puca la
name. It was my
chingada.
nickname.
Yeah,
And it
la
was
la
like,
chingada.
hey, he's been cheating on you for like a year. And he's been using, and this is his dealer's name, and da 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 da. And I'm like,
Well, you tell it.
and
You
he
tell
had
that
my
pendejo he's in the
card, I was
corner.
like,
Yeah.
I called him. I'm like, you need to get your ass here now. Bring me my car.
Oh, he
and
was
don't
still living
ever-
there when you found
No,
out. He wasn't
had-
gone
No,
yet.
he was already gone.
Oh, he was gone.
But I'd let him use my car. He was going to buy it from me, my old car.
Yeah.
And I was like, get here now. I'm done. Don't ever speak to me again. You have until this date to get all the rest of your crap out of this place, or you're like,
So
it's
you
going
broke
through
it
hell.
off with him, but you were still willing to kind of help him out a little bit. You
I
still kind of
was,
cared
and
for
I
him, but
was
you
giving
knew the
him
relationship.
money,
That's
like,
that is
yeah.
responsible. Isn't that really cool? I see that being really cool. I see the program working in you, man, Raquel, because look, you practice
I
empathy,
tried.
man.
No,
No,
I
that's
did.
awesome. I see the progress, man.
And
That's
but
amazing.
my view
Yeah.
was like I kept seeing the potential in him,
Yeah.
but not the real him.
But and then you found this information and you were able to stand up for yourself and
like,
said, hey, bring
"We're
me my
done."
car, fool. We're really done. And now you're on your own, man. You're not
And
gonna
I found
shame
out
me.
so much stuff
Right.
after he left. And and then I was like, this is karma. I cheated on my husband. Of course he cheated on me. Duh.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm done. And it took me probably 18 months to not think about him every single day and not cry.
Would
every
you
day.
say that the self-confidence that you build, that recovery helped you build inside, helped you make that move of going, listen, Jack, go ahead and pack your stuff up. I still care for you as a friend, as a guy or whatever, but I don't love you anymore. I've moved on and I have to move on with my life. Because look, Raquel, we don't do that. I don't
Right.
know about you guys. Maybe you're stronger than me, but with past relationships, I don't know how to break up. I don't know how to say that. I cheat. You know what I mean? I find another person or they find me or whatever, right? And we start having this romance, and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe none of y'all have done this, and then you build that confidence because you've got this other thing on the side now, and you go, hey, okay, Jack, listen, and you're cheating, and you're not doing,
Right.
you're not living
Well,
right.
My thing was like
But
when
you did
I
that.
left my
I mean, you did do that.
ex-husband,
Mhm,
like I had been wanting to leave him for years.
mhm.
And because I cheated and I broke my vows, I couldn't live with him anymore. It was like I did it on purpose just as a way to get out. Like there's no going back from that. For
So
me,
you wanted him to know.
it was
But not really.
no. He found out because I was like, I lied about it a lot. And then one day he called me and he was like, "You swear to God?" And I'm like,
Like Joe,
because that's
I
one
swear to
thing.
God.
Like,
I swear to
if you
God.
say swear to God to me and I don't say swear to God back, then I'm a liar.
Was it
right?
George
I'm
Lopez that
like,
says that? The comedian? I swear to God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my thing. Like, if I will not lie if I say swear to God, because that's something I don't swear. I mean, I don't lie
You
on
don't swear to God?
I don't lie on God. So
Mhm.
that was my thing, and I was like, oh. But like, and I was character assassinated and all kinds of stuff on social media about it and everything like that, and it was what it was. But hurt people, and that's just what we do. And but like for me, and I have a really hard time setting boundaries and keeping boundaries.
Mhm.
I've realized that even in
Mhm.
recovery, like I do. And like I had a really good friend that helped me through after my breakup, and it became where it was like it didn't serve me, if that makes sense. I don't even know how else to say it, but it was like I felt like I was giving more of myself, and I was getting depressed. I was getting like feeling like I just wasn't taking care of me, and I wasn't living for me, and I was living for everybody else. And I finally made a decision that I want to be happy in this life.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to set healthy boundaries in this life,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
Mhm.
And if you don't understand, then that's not my problem.
Mhm.
That's yours. And but I have to do what's best for me
Right.
to be able to be sane, to have a relationship with myself. And like, and I always say, like, when every time I do an amends, it's always I'm the first person that I put on that list because I do so many things that hurt me, and I'm a people pleaser. I always have been. I mean, I've gotten a lot better at it, but I'm a people pleaser where like I'm like, I want to make sure that you're okay. And I want to make sure that I don't hurt your feelings. And I want to make sure you're okay and you're okay. But I'm not okay. And when I realized that, I was just like, I'm done. And I went back to meetings. I was gone for a couple years and I went back to meetings and I was like, yes, I was doing the God thing, but I wasn't doing the recovery thing.
I'm
Mhm.
glad you said that, Raquel, because I wanted to segue into that anyway. So Raul has he has 3 years. You have 16. I have 13, and Ricky has 10 plus.
11 tomorrow.
No fronts, no fronts, no fronts.
No fronts.
I want some cake today. Fuck it. I want some cake. I want some cupcakes today.
Not yet. Not till
No?
midnight.
Oh, well, I'll get them with myself.
Okay.
I'll front myself shit.
Did you find that it was easy to get complacent
Oh,
in
absolutely.
recovery?
So my whole thing was like, man, I did all these years of being of service and going to all these meetings, all these events and conventions and do all this stuff. And like, I mean, I was really solid in my recovery. And then when I moved from like after I got divorced, I moved to another town and it was like, and I moved to Las Vegas and
Nice.
because it was 90 miles north of where we lived. And like
He's
I was a
he's
little
like,
bit
I wanna
nervous,
move
but
there.
Yeah.
but there was so much recovery and stuff that was going on. And
Really?
So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it would-
There's-
I went to a
would've been
meeting in
the
Vegas.
opposite.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Region 51 because they're the bomb. Like seriously, there's some serious recovery going on in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I went to a meeting
There
in
really
Vegas.
is, and like I loved it. I found a sponsor out there, a home group, I was involved, and all this stuff. And then I moved out here, and that's where I really struggled. And it was crazy because one of the guys that was chairing the first meeting that I went to when I moved back was somebody that I knew from when I was early in recovery, like when I first got clean out here. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that you got divorced." And I'm like, "Son of a bitch." I'm like, "So you read all my ex-husband's posts?"
We're friends on Facebook
I'm
or
like,
what?
"Damn it." I'm like, "So you know all this stuff I did?" But and I kind of struggled with that at the beginning too. So that was another reason why I wasn't like adamant. And then I tried different meetings around the area. And I live out in the country, so it's like 30 minutes at least to get to a meeting. At least. And so, I just was like, I was so used to being able to go 10 minutes and there was a meeting,
Mhm.
in where I lived in Arizona and then in Vegas, like it was literally 10 minutes. Like I could jog to meetings. I used to ride my beach cruiser to meetings in
Mm.
Vegas, and like out here, it's just like, I can't even ride my bike to the gas station. Shit, I'm like, but like, I really struggled with that. And then, like, when I decided to come back, sorry, excuse me. But when I decided to come back to meetings, I was like, I want this more than I care about not having to drive 30, 40
Mhm.
minutes to a meeting.
Mhm.
And like, it was amazing. Like this time around was like, okay, I came back. And I remember thinking like when I first got moved out here, I was like, man, I wish I would have relapsed just because I could feel like, all the insanity that I did was because I relapsed and I'd be welcomed back as a newcomer. Oh, we still love you. But now I did all my shit clean. And that was like really hard for me to like, so like, we're glad you're here, but kind of fucked up and you got all these years. Like, it was hard for me to like, to really be able to be okay with that.
Mm.
And then when I came back this, I don't know how long it's been, but I mean, I was so welcomed at the meetings. They're like, we're so glad to see you. And I was just like, all right.
A relief.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I just felt the love. And like it was just amazing because I just missed it so much. I mean, I really, really did. And it was one of those
How
things.
long did you stay away?
It was a couple years.
From the meetings, from the group, from the program. Let's just
Mhm.
say the program, right? So you didn't do any steps, didn't have a sponsor.
Didn't have a sponsor, didn't do any
nothing.
steps.
So what is the last thing you told your last sponsor before those 2 years? I mean, did you say, hey, I'll call you tomorrow and never heard from you again? How did that go? If you don't mind sharing that with us. You don't have to say no names or nothing.
To
I'm
be
just
honest,
curious.
so
Right, Miss
I had
Audience?
just come from Vegas from a convention and I had worked one of my steps, and I was a new sponsor and I shared my step with my sponsor and I really struggled with it.
Mhm.
And I remember going and trying to say something to my boyfriend at the time, and he was just like, he didn't even care. Like, and I was really struggling with it. And all I could hear, and he didn't actually say this, but like he used to say this all the time to everybody. Like he's like, "Why don't you just shut up and go kill yourself?" And he didn't actually say it, so I'm not going to say that he said it.
So
'cause
did he say it
didn't.
or didn't say it?
He did not say it to me at that time. He used to
Did he-
joke around about that all the time.
Oh, okay.
He would say, "Man, I just wish they'd shut up and go kill themselves." And I'm like, "Damn, okay." But I went to my room
Mhm.
and I started texting everybody. I love you. I just want you to know that. And I had a bottle of pills and I was going to take it. And I just recently opened up the book that I was writing my steps in and I found the letter that I had written to my son.
Wow.
And I was like, and my son is the reason why I'm here. 100%. He has saved my life so many times. He doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Like, he's the best thing I've ever done in my life. And I couldn't do that to him because there's no way you come back from that. And that was like the thing for me. I was writing that letter and then I couldn't even sign it. And I went to sleep and then I went to work the next day and I told my boss, I was crying. I'm like, and he was like, get in the car. We're going to the hospital. Called my parents, wouldn't leave me. They wound up checking me in and I wanted to get on medication again. And I was just like, it was lost again. In recovery again. I was lost.
You started gaining weight again?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, that's you.
I haven't done any, but it's like the bipolar medication. It just makes you gain weight.
But you know what? The
God.
thing is, man.
But here's the deal: if
I might start gaining, I'm gonna get on that medication too, and I'm gonna start gaining weight. Is that what I look forward to?
No, it
No.
depends on the medication that you're taking, and they have come out with better medications.
I'm on
now.
medication.
Are you?
Yeah.
It was just, it's
but
just
you look
me.
fly, dog. You look fly. Right.
Yeah.
But like my thing was like, so I've always been a certain weight, like, and to gain weight, and then to have your husband tell you that, and then like the person that you like are in love with, like lose interest in you and everything like that. Like it really jacks with my
And then
mind and my
to end it
self-confidence.
with, a lot of times we're our own worst, and critics, right? It's like if I had curly hair, I want straight hair. I'm not too tall. I'm not tall enough. I'm too short. I'm fat.
So I am 100% have body
Confident in yourself.
dysmorphic disorder.
What
So
does that mean?
That means you look in the mirror and you could be 100 pounds and you see 150 pounds.
But that's all women, Raquel.
No,
Don't be
it's not.
bullshitting me.
That's not true.
No, man.
Let me tell you,
man.
right now,
Hey, recovery or not, or
15
Jesus
pounds.
Christ or not, all women are like that.
I'm 15 pounds overweight
There we go.
today.
Let's arm
And
wrestle
you know
about
what?
it. I'll arm wrestle you.
I would not have a problem. I'm 15 pounds overweight where I want to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to
But
say
I
this.
am
You
more
wear it well.
comfortable in my skin than I've ever been in my life. And I'm 15 pounds overweight where I want to be. Okay.
Mhm.
But I am more comfortable in my skin than I've ever been in my life. today.
So what brings on that confidence? What's the difference? Tell us about that. We're
I finally
interested.
came
We
to a
wanna know.
point where I'm like, I am who I am,
So you love
and I'm
yourself today.
beautiful in my own skin.
Ah, see, that's what we wanted to hear. We
And
wanted to
that
hear
was
the truth.
it was a huge revelation
And
to
is it
me.
okay to say you love yourself and that you
Absolutely.
love the way you are?
Because you know what? Today, I'm a good
That's
person.
amazing,
100%.
man.
I'm a good
I dig
person.
that. I dig that.
I want the best for other people. I want the best for myself.
Right.
Because that was the hardest thing for me, was to be okay with loving myself
Mhm.
more than others.
Mhm.
Because I never did. I always
Mhm.
wanted to make sure everybody else, because I've always felt unloved. So I didn't want anybody else to feel that way.
Is that why some people that have suffered, or not suffered, I don't know if how to use words in the right thing, but they say the people that have suffered the most are the most giving. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? I've seen these memes or memes or
Oh, yeah.
whatever, but we're the first to I'm not including me in that. But when you know of suffering, you don't want the other people, you feel it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think from my recovery, Raquel, and I'm gonna share my experience, what the fall that I had, I mean, it gave me this new perspective on the homeless and people in that whatever, man. It seems like after my fall and to get back up, I keep dollars in my car. When the homeless come to me, before I'd be like, "Ah, you're just gonna drink, you're gonna whatever," and you know what I mean? What they do with it afterwards, man, it's none of my
None of your
concern.
business.
It's not my business. I just give to give. What they do with it is none of my business,
Right.
man, and it's just, whatever.
I learned in recovery too about what a good for nothing is. Okay.
Yeah.
So a good for nothing to me, and I learned this, was you see somebody struggling and you help them, but you don't let them know that you're the one that helped them. And then you don't tell anybody else.
Wait, you're
Because
saying that's a bad thing to do?
No, I'm saying it's a good thing to help them. But here's my thing is, so many of us help others, not because we want to help them, but we want to make ourselves look better.
I did that all the time. I still do it.
Like, but there's a lot of people that, I mean, it's human nature.
Hey, he's getting really honest tonight.
You know what?
I love
I'm
it.
always honest,
You're
bro.
getting really honest
I don't
tonight.
pull no punches. Hey, look, in fact, the church that we went to, the one we go to, I went and you take selfies.
Right.
No, but I would tell you, I'm going to tell you a turning point for us, and we have a new visitor, and she's my witness. Listen, 3 years ago, and I don't mean to interrupt, but 3 years ago, we this is a turning point for me. I was always taking the selfies and the sandwiches and taking to the homeless and stuff, and then posting it on Facebook. Hey, look what a great guy I am. And but something changed for me. We went, an organization reached out to us, and I included my kids, Robert, Megan, and Chrissy and Ricky. We chose this family, and they were in a using motel. The parents must have been using, because it was your, you're using hotel. It was over there off of somewhere. Christmas, we picked this family. They picked us to pick the family, man. And I took my family. We bought a tree. We bought gifts. I wrapped them and everything. And we went there, man. When we went there, I told my kids, when I knew the hotel we were going to, I said, stick near me, man. You know what I mean? Stick near me. So we did. We went in there. There was a baby and the lady. I could smell the drug of choice that I used to use. And then we took it to them, and I told right there and then, I told my kids, nobody, because the lady that set us up, she wanted us to take pictures so they can, praise us or whatever, show the organization that we were there. And I said, nobody take no pictures. We're not going to make this family. The kids, you could tell the kids were like,
so embarrassed.
yeah, and the kids, there was the two older ones and then the little ones. And I told them, I was very proud, man, that was a turning point 3 years ago, right? Christmas. I said, nobody take any pictures. We're not going to make, even if we blur their face, we're not going to do this to them, man. We took no pictures. We hugged them, wished them well, and then we left. And man, I felt so good afterwards. In the back of my mind, sometimes I was like, man, that would have been a great picture. You know what I mean?
But again, that's the ego. That's our ego that gets in the way.
Yeah, and we recognize it
like,
today. I'm
and
an
that's my thing,
egotistical
like-
son of a gun.
No.
Yeah.
You don't say.
You don't say.
Wait,
But I
I'm
work on
shocked.
it. I work on it. Anyway, keep going.
Right,
I'm
no,
sorry.
but, like, so like that's my thing. Like I need to care about myself.
Right.
and want to help myself as much as I want to help somebody else.
Others.
Like when I see somebody else hurting, like I want to help them. If I don't do that for myself so much. And it's just been, I want to say in the last 6 months that I was like, oh, I got to take care of me. There's nobody that's going to take care of me. My son tries, my family, like, they love me and everything like that. But like to complete myself and like, just recently that's been something going on about dating again.
The big D.
Dating apps suck. Just saying.
Tinder?
But no, I'm not doing Tinder.
Farmers
But,
don't know
only.
about that.
but like I've come to a position where I'm like, I want to have somebody not to complete me, but to complement my life. Like I want somebody that's gonna make my life better. I don't need them to complete me. I don't need anybody to take care of me. That's not what I want. I want somebody that's gonna listen to me. I want an emotional, mental, spiritual connection with somebody before I become physical.
With good credit.
That's always good.
That always helps.
But seriously, like in all my relationships before, it's always been if
We
I
need to
have
time
sex
that
with
better.
you that you'll love me.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want that anymore. I don't want somebody to love me because of like the physical aspect of a relationship. I want to have those feelings before even going into it. Because in reality, the physical goes away. If you don't have those other connections, what's the point? Because when you grow old, the beauty fades.
Not my beauty.
Almost.
Not my beauty. I'm gonna
Nah.
be beautiful till I'm 80.
I'm gonna be a pretty
And
motherfucker till the
you're
end.
damn straight.
Oh, I am
Hell
too, but
yeah.
I mean, like,
You're fucking
Hey, motherfucker. Raquel, tell us. Listen, man. So we're getting into the end of the show. Tell us in your own words, man, your experience, strength, and hope. Tell us a couple of words on and to wrap up your story. Tell us how you did it, how you're gonna do it, and how you're going to see yourself in the future in the near what? How far should we go, Miss Audience? What, a year? Where do you see yourself within a year? Let's not go too far. Right.
So honestly, so in my recovery, like I honestly, everything is about God. Without God, there is no me, there is no recovery,
Mhm.
there is no joy, there is no life without my God.
Mhm.
And I had to come to a different God of my understanding because the one I was raised with, I was going to hell. So,
Mhm.
I have a forgiving, loving, understanding God today.
Mhm.
And that's amazing. I have strong church family. I have a strong support system in my family.
Mm.
They may
That's
not
important.
understand like the way that my mind works. Like, I remember my mom, I have to digress here, came to a meeting with me when I got 60 days clean. And my mom's like, "Da, da, 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 da." She's always talking and everything like that. And I just wanted to bring her and like everybody's sharing in the meeting. And she's like,
The hell's wrong with her?
and then at the end of the meeting, she says, Mija,
Locos.
Yeah, you
She's
motherfuckers
like-
got problems.
They got problems.
she's like, it's a room full of yous. Like they're all like you. I'm like, I know.
No,
It's great,
that's
right?
awesome.
I was so excited. She's like,
no,
I don't know what to do with this. Like, I gotta go. She's like, I'm out. Deuces. Like, it freaked her out. But that was the thing, and that was my attraction.
Huh.
So whatever 12-step program you choose, find where you're comfortable.
Mm.
Find where you're comfortable. It doesn't matter what's in front of the A.
Mm-hmm.
Find where you're comfortable. Try until you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End. Because if you're not comfortable, you're never gonna get it.
Mm.
And you can't get clean for anybody else. Anybody else. My best friend, she's got 10 years clean now. I got 16. She would have had 16 years in December the 5th. And she was in and out. And I mean, I tried to save her and I couldn't. She had to do that for herself. And she's amazing. She's just an amazing, amazing woman. But like for me, like I had to find where I was comfortable. And the 12-step fellowship that I'm in is where I'm comfortable. I've tried the others and if my ass is falling off, I'll go to any whatever A meeting. Like I will. because I know where I'm at. Like I know who I am,
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter. I can find recovery anywhere. But look for the similarities, not the differences.
Mhm.
That's a hard thing sometimes because you want to be like, I wasn't like that. I wasn't like that. I was not as effed up as you are. But like my thing is, I'm home where
Mhm.
I'm at in recovery. I have an amazing sponsor that does not judge me,
Mhm.
and that's a big thing for me. So where do I see myself in a year? I would love to say still, I mean, working the steps, going to church, doing all that stuff, doing well, and I just got a new job. But like doing well in all those, and if I'm lucky, not even if I'm lucky, but if that's what God wants, maybe I'll be in a relationship.
Mm.
But I don't need it. That's the difference today for me. Because as long as I love me and I'm in a relationship with me, I'll take myself to the movies. I'll take myself out to sushi. I can take myself wherever. I don't need somebody else to do it for me.
That's amazing. See,
And
that's the difference
that's-
between you and me. I do need a relationship. Yeah, I can't
and
be
here's
alone.
my thing is I'm like, I never
even find
thought I
it.
could be alone.
Yeah,
I never did.
I tried to go eat by myself. I can't do it.
Oh, I don't.
I can't. I definitely can't go to the movies by
I'm
myself.
addicted to TikTok. So
You can't do that at the movies. You can't play on TikTok.
No,
I'll
I
tell
know,
you, you
but
get
I can
kicked
watch
out.
the movie. But I'm saying go out to dinner.
I know.
I read. I do whatever. I mean,
In the
I don't
movies,
get-
you read in the movies?
When I go out to dinner by myself or lunch by
Oh,
myself, I don't have a
yeah.
problem with any of that.
Dude, I've tried to go to the movies by myself. I can't do it. I mean, to lunch.
Oh no,
But, yeah, yeah.
it
That's
doesn't bother
awesome,
me at all.
yeah.
But
Well,
like that's my thing is I don't ever want to go to a place where I feel like I have to have somebody in my life to be happy.
Mm.
I want to be happy in my own skin, in my own life, within myself, with my God, and then everything else is great. But that if I get into a relationship,
Mhm.
I need all those things before I will, because I'm damaged 100%. I'm good.
So in other words, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Absolutely.
So I wanna say something real quick. God willing, in about let's see, 3 hours and 45 minutes, my boy Ricky will have 11 years left. And I just wanted to tell
I want some
you,
cupcakes.
I just wanted to tell you, man, that
Pineapple upside down cake,
that
bro.
Ooh, that's good.
I'm proud of you,
Thank you,
and
man. I
I'm
appreciate it.
sure your dad and Eugene are proud of you too, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That's all I wanted to
appreciate
say.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh wait! I'm not clapping till tomorrow.
And no fronts.
No fronts.
No fronts. Hey,
That's
man,
good.
when I first got a year, I'm going to tell you, when I first got a year, Rachel was going to make me a cake. I think she was going to, my mind is a little blurry,
Hey,
but
did you ever make that?
she
damn
did
cake?
make
made
it.
it.
Okay.
She
you
made
did
it.
make it. You did make it.
I
And
asked him what kind of cake he wanted. And this motherfucker spits out
pineapple.
pineapple upside down cake, which I don't know how to make.
Uh,
I cussed him the whole time.
Yeah,
and showed up with
but
the
you're all
pineapple
right,
upside
man.
down.
You're all right, Rachel. And I thought, man, when walking in there, I thought that I was gonna have fucking flowers and balloons, and we're gonna have all kinds of shit. And I soon found out that it was just like, hey, we used to pass. In fact, we used to do this. We need to do this again. Pass out a card. That was
Oh, wait.
awesome, man.
haven't been to a
we used
birthday meeting
to,
yet,
but
so,
yeah,
yeah, that's a
Anyway.
big deal. I
It
still
is a
have
big
meet-
deal.
I mean, I still
It's
have
an
cards for
amazing big
meetings and
deal.
everything like
I
that.
do too. I still have my cards. They're in my
Mhm.
that card that y'all signed. They're in there. But anyway, lead us home, Mr. Engineer Raul.
God, hey, I wanted to tell you, you got some comments here. So
okay.
Stephanie said you're doing great. Max said
Thank
it was
you.
great to see all of you guys. John says hello.
Hello, hey,
Erica said that she loves you.
hello.
That's my BFF.
Tanya,
Hello.
she said you're doing a great job. Ernesto said, "What's up?"
That fat boy to
Sup?
shut up.
Rodney said, "What's up, Ricky?"
What's up, Rodney?
And is it
Kiana?
no Gidry? How do you say her first name? I'm not sure how to say this. Kirra.
I can't see that far.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
This is Kira.
Kira, is that how you say it? Damn. Oh, Kira.
Kirra.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Kira.
Well, man, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Shit. She said, "Hey."
He felt spelling. He felt the spelling bee.
Yeah, but that's not even a joke. For real.
For real though.
But again, thank you for coming on
Thank
the show. We
you.
appreciate you guys, and Ricky,
Yes.
y'all did great today, man.
Thank you.
Hey,
Well, that's
I don't
how to
even
say
need to be here no
yeah, of
more,
course.
man. Man.
I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you guys. Honestly, I was so nervous
Don't-
about.
We
being here
can't.
today.
We couldn't even
And,
tell,
like,
man.
You know what? You know what? Thank you for coming, Raquel. We love you.
Hey, yeah, that's how we should have finished it up. Do the last 15 minutes, and we should have just shared that way.
in the
Yeah,
helium voice.
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh goodness. No, but I really appreciate you guys having me on.
No,
we're
thank you.
really excited.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
We're getting the hang of this thing.
We're
I think
getting the
we're
hang of
pretty
it,
good
yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
Yep. We got a sharp team here.
Absolutely. But listen, man. So thank you for coming, Raquel, from
Thank
the
you
bottom
for
of
having
our
me.
hearts. Ronnie, Raul, and I, we really thank you for taking the time to join us and our audience, for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us, man. And we want to know that we want everybody to know that the lie is dead.
We do recover.
because we do recover, Raquel.
Somebody said to ask you about your glazer.
You own a glazer in the North
I-
Atlantic?
Hate you, Daniel. That's my brother-in-law, and he thinks he's funny.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. She can't share it.
I'm not sharing what that means.
We were told to ask about it.
So where do we? So with that being said, where do we hear this podcast?
So if you didn't catch it, it's available on all podcast platforms as of tomorrow morning. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
We do
we're
recover, man. The lie is dead, fellas.
The lie is dead.
Young lady, the lie is dead, Raquel. And guess what? Tomorrow I have 11 years. Ronnie. Who loves you?
baby. Eugene, yes.
Yes, tomorrow at 12. As always, yes, thank y'all for tuning in. Peace out.